the former convent of the Good Shepherd overlooking Inwood Hill Park in New York City. Welcome to Inwood Artworks On Air. It's where you meet the musicians, filmmakers, writers, theater makers, and artists of all stripes who make their home in what we affectionately call Upstate Manhattan. I'm your host, Aaron Sims, and this is Live and Local. It's our podcast dedicated to showcasing the musicians of Upper Manhattan. We talk to them about what they do, and best of all, listen to them perform live, one of our favorite local venues. Today, we are excited to speak with musician Mateo Vintimilla. Mateo is an Ecuadorian-born classical guitarist who has performed in venues across the globe, receiving recitals in Dominican Republic, Iceland, United States, and Ecuador. A recipient of the Augustine Foundation Scholarship, he has collaborated with the Brooklyn Composer Society, premiering new music at Brooklyn College, and commissioned and premiered works from several Ecuadorian composers. Mateo obtained his bachelor's degree in classical guitar performance at the Manhattan School of Music with the American virtuoso Mark Delpriora, and his master's degree under the tutelage of the internationally acclaimed artist Dr. Andrew Zohn at the Schwob School of Music. As an educator, Mateo has been a faculty member in the Brooklyn Center for Musical Arts, the New York City Guitar School, and nonprofit organizations like Lead Guitar and Eternal Creations, where he currently works as the artist director. We're going to talk to him about all his work and more, but right now, we're thrilled to have him perform live for you right now. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy Mateo Vintimilla. Thank you so much, Mateo. It's great having you here. Thank you so much for playing. That was amazing.
Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here.
You bet. You bet. So could you tell our audience what you just played for us?
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, the first piece that I played today is a composition that I made. I'm not much of a composer, but I remember there was like a time right before I moved to the U.S. I, lost my grandmother, who was a very important person to me. She was kind of like my mother. I spent a lot of time with her. And then, I was accepted. I got a scholarship to come study here. But, I loved Ecuador. I loved my life in Ecuador. And I was like, going through these laws. And at the same time, I was about to like leave my country, my culture, my family to come pursue this dream that I had, which of course was a great opportunity. But at the same time, there's like a lot of sacrifices that I was doing, like leaving everything behind. So I remember one day I was walking. I was like kind of like walking downtown, and then I just felt I had this like bug in my ear, and I immediately like just went to my guitar teacher's house, his school, and then I asked to borrow one of his guitars, and I was like practicing in one of the practice rooms at his guitar school, and I just picked it up, and that came like one shot. Like I didn't even think about it, just played it. And then that's probably like that's the only piece I've ever written. But it was like kind of like a one thing. It was like, music touched me that day, and like that came, and it was a little sad, but
inspiration hit you.
Yeah, inspiration hit me. It was
meant to be.
Meant to be. And I tried to write more stuff, like could never do it. So it was kind of like a one-time thing.
Are you one and done now as a composer, or do you want to still write some stuff here?
I don't know. I want to say I'm one and done. I've tried it, not successfully. Maybe in the future.
Well, it was a great piece. And what is it? Do you have a title for it?
No, actually, it's the first time. Like, okay, so too many stories, but
we're here for the stories.
Oh, perfect. So a couple of weeks ago, we have a performance at Hollywood Root Church. Actually, Mexican guitar virtuoso Christopher Aviles. It was a fantastic concert, but opening that show, we had one of our instructors perform. His name is Michael Romeo, fantastic guitar player and composer. He played his own composition, and then I was inspired by that. I'm like, I have this one piece that I wrote 10 years ago, never played for anyone. It was kind of like something that I kept for myself. But I was inspired by Michael. I'm like, maybe I should play this again and like play it for people. So today was like the kind of like world premiere of my one piece that I ever written.
We'll put it out there. We'll call it Untitled for now.
Yes,
but still, how beautiful is that as a tribute to your abuela, right?
Yes.
Yeah, well, awesome. Well, you've answered a lot of questions I was going to lead with, which is it saves me because no one wants to hear me talk. They want to hear you. Well, obviously you're a very gifted guitarist, and I hope inspiration strikes again because it was a beautiful song. So, and obviously that is your mode of expression. And did guitar obviously you play flawlessly, but like what made you want to pick up the guitar in Ecuador? I mean, it's not like all the Ecuadorian kids go to guitar school right away. But was it in your family? Like, how were you exposed to it? Like, what was your entry point?
Yeah, well, I think there's like a couple of different things that kind of like happened. Well, my family has always been, it's weird. Like half of my family are like very serious, like, doctors or lawyers. And the other half are like more like
civilians.
Yes, exactly.
Real people or
real people. Yes, exactly. Real people, real civilians. So half of my family is like literally like doctors and lawyers, and then the other half is like teachers and artists. Mm-hmm.
So I like how you group teachers with artists. It's really
absolutely.
Teachers are creative.
Absolutely, it's an art. Like I believe
every day.
Absolutely, it's an art, and like you use the same skills. Like you have to improve every day. Like you need to be more effective with your music. You need to be more effective with your teaching. Like it's just very similar. It's like it comes from the same inspiration, I think. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so there was always arts involved in my family. Actually, I think I was like a very talented. As a kid, I was very talented at drawing and painting. That was like my thing. I was like, my grandmother, like me and my cousins actually. My grandmother would buy a rack of like paper, and then we'll like spend like draw 6-7 hours a day as kids. It was crazy. We like do so. That was like kind of like our thing. And then one day, I think it was like I was at sixth grade, and I saw one of like the older kids like playing guitar in the like a school, and there's like five girls around him, and I'm like, oh man, maybe I should maybe I should play the guitar. And then that day, like I told my dad, like, hey, I want to play guitar, and he had like a friend who was a guitar teacher, and then boom, I went to my first lesson, and I never stopped.
That's amazing. How old were you?
I was 10 years old, 10, 11.
Great.
Something like that, yeah.
Wow. That's fantastic. Well, and it's great your parents encouraged you too.
Yeah. I was very, like, my dad always was always very supportive. Because it's difficult. Sometimes people, especially like after like a couple of years, but I didn't stop, and I was like, Dad, I think I want to do this forever. I was like, oh my, like, it was like a little challenging for him to accept, because like everybody thinks like, oh, how are you gonna make a living out of like being a musician? But he was very encouraging. He was like, always telling me like, okay, if you decided you want to do it, you have to like go to best schools. You have to be the best, because like it's such a difficult career. You cannot be like half good. You have to like do your best. Like it's gonna be difficult.
So, where are you right now in your career?
Right now, well,
in this difficult life,
actually, like I think,
or good life, or both.
it's a great life. It's a great life. So many opportunities have like arisen. I think like as a musician, like one important thing to do if you really want to make it, like make a living out of being a musician, you have to do everything. You have to perform. You have to teach. You have to, you cannot be like choosing. Like if somebody like, oh, I want to have this student because he wants to learn electric guitar and I only play classical. Like you can't do that. You need to be able to teach everything effectively. So I'm teaching, I'm performing, I'm working with Internal Creations, which is something fantastic, like organization that is doing a lot of great work.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up.
Yeah.
So you have an impressive career. It's going well for you. You're still here. That's why I always say it's like, if I'm still here, I'm doing pretty good, right?
Yes.
So you're here to talk about it. So guess what? Life's been okay so far.
Yes.
Career's in a good place. But yeah, you teach locally along with our friend Josio Montes, and you help mold young people's lives and guide the direction of Internal Creations. Can you tell our listeners a little more about the company?
Yeah, well, Internal Creations is a non-profit organization that we believe in teaching leadership, self-sufficiency, and life skills through the classical guitar. Internal Creations started like actually 10 years ago. We just had our 10th birthday.
Congratulations.
And it's actually like a Washington Heights. It started in Washington Heights. Jose grew up here. He had like this first programs in Washington Heights, but we're throughout the city. We have like right now 12 programs. We're about to open 2 more, but we're in Queens, Bronx, Manhattan, and Brooklyn. But yeah, we basically we have 2 types of programs. We have programs for like high schools, where we come for after school courses, and we teach guitar there, and we have community programs too. So that the community programs are open to adults and anybody who's interested in learning the classical guitar.
It's wonderful. It's a great opportunity. And your role is the artist director. So
Yes.
You hear about artist directors in like arts organizations that are presenting, they're public facing. So what does an artist director do for an educational based organization?
Well,
Your role.
it's really important to understand that like everything, especially like the music programs and then the community concerts and everything, it kind of like interacts one another. Like for us, it's really important to, again, our main goal is not to develop like professional guitar players as much as it is to develop professional like people. We want to teach you how to have an organized like a system to learn how to play the guitar, and then you can use the organized that methodology to learn any other life skills. And it's really important for us to also develop this leadership and like kind of like empower our students by having different international performing artists come play shows for our kids, teach classes for some of our programs, and then put a community concert, because it's really important to have also kind of like that community engagement.
Yeah.
socialize the work that we're doing. So that's why we use these performances to kind of like let the community know, like, hey, listen, we're here.
Yeah.
We have this guitar program, and we're bringing you the best musicians in the world come perform for you.
That's fantastic. And you're creating good people who appreciate the arts.
Absolutely, creating an audience.
A full person.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, like we just talked about how like being a teacher and being an artist is similar, but it really, like, I think you can be an artist, like you can have an artistic approach into any career that you know
Yeah.
have. You can be a creative lawyer, you can be an artistic
Sure.
lawyer, you can, the way you think out of the box, the way you confront like difficulty, like how are you going to solve a problem, like all these things, like the way your brain, like the reasoning, of your brain, the way you think, the way you connect things, that you learn with music, but you can use it for anything.
Totally agree. Absolutely. And it's great to see these kids turn out and go on and find their different paths and
Absolutely.
have that appreciation. And like you were just saying, it's like 10 years ago you're walking down the street and all of a sudden inspiration hits you. You
Yeah.
never know how these kids are going to manifest
Absolutely.
their inspiration.
Absolutely.
Maybe through the guitar, maybe through other means.
Yeah.
Maybe through being a surgeon. You never know.
Absolutely. Exactly.
And so I think that's pretty wonderful.
Excellent.
You guys are doing great work.
Yeah.
So I understand, getting back to your work, you have another song you like to share with us as well. Do you want to introduce it?
Yeah, sure. This is actually a composition that was originally written for the piano. And it's like special piece for me because I prepared that piece for my auditions when I was auditioning for college here in New York. And I worked really hard on this piece. I had like 4 different works that I needed to put together for my audition, but this one was like the big one for me. Like I wanted to like just have it perfect so I can like impress my teachers and everything. And then when I got for my audition at Manhattan School of Music, which is the place that I ended up going for school, I got there, I was like ready to play, and they asked me, okay, which piece do you want to play first? And I was about to say Asturias, which is the name of the piece. And then one of the teachers said, like, please don't play Asturias. We heard that piece too many times today.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, so I couldn't play it. I had to play the B section because I didn't want to hear the fast part, which is like the part that I was like working on the most. But anyways, I ended up getting the scholarship, so
Okay, good.
it worked out.
What
But
did you play though? What did you play?
Sorry?
What did you play for the audition then?
No, I played like I had like a couple different pieces,
Okay,
but
got
this one was my main thing,
Those
and
are
I
your
had to
main
play
thing.
all the
That's
other
tough.
pieces. Yeah.
Oh, listen, I work in theater too, and it's like you want to hear, like if you're in Shakespeare saying, "Please don't do Hamlet,"
Exactly,
it's
yeah.
like, please don't do Jailer's Daughter.
I
from
get
Two
it,
Noble
yes.
Cousins. Yeah, it's like it's the same things over and over.
Yes,
again,
yes.
Viola from Twelfth Night. Yeah, I totally understand. Or yes, you hear the same songs. Well, but we're gonna hear it now.
Exactly.
All right. So
yeah,
now is your opportunity.
that is my chance.
Okay.
But so Asturias by Isaac Albeniz.
Excellent. Enjoy once again, Mateo. Well, that was quite a journey, and thank you very much. All sorts of levels on that, and they missed out on that audition. I'll tell you what, right now, it's good stuff right there. Mateo, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you,
Thank you.
and having you here on Inwood Artworks on Air. Before we say goodbye, where can people go to find out more about your work and also Internal Creations?
Sure. So they can find us on internalcreations.org. On social media, Instagram, Facebook, as Internal Creations. We're gonna have a couple of announcements soon. We're gonna have a couple of amazing concerts coming up. We have a great lineup of artists this year, so definitely be in tune for that. Yeah.
Great. Well, hopefully you can do a couple back here in Washington Heights and Inwood. We'd love to have you back.
Yeah, absolutely,
You know,
absolutely.
it'd be great. Listeners, you can find Internal Creations. Do you have a personal website or anything like that?
Instagram, Mateo Vintimilla. On
There
Instagram.
you go. Instagram. Follow this guy as well. Okay. All right. Well, again, thank you, Mateo. It's
Thank
been
you
an
so
absolute
much.
pleasure having you here. So this is Mateo Vintimilla, who's done a wonderful job here on Inwood Artworks on Air. It's a live and local episode, folks. We love these when we get people play live for you. Hey, this is Inwood Artworks on Air. It's where you meet the musicians, writers, theater makers, filmmakers, artists of all stripes make their home here in northern Manhattan. If you have a moment right now, please show us some love by rating and reviewing this podcast on Apple Podcasts. It really helps. Many thanks to the Church of Good Shepherd here for hosting us, and to HideSites.com for uptown promotional support. You can support On Air and all of our programming by making a tax-free donation at inwoodartworks.nyc/donate or via Venmo at Inwood Artworks. Be sure to follow us on social media to keep all that we do, which includes the Inwood Film Festival, Filmworks Al Fresco, live performances, and so much more. Inwood Artworks On Air is proud to be supported in part by public funds from the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs in partnership with the City Council. And Inwood Artworks programming is made possible by the New York State Council on the Arts with the support of the Office of the Governor and the New York State Legislature. From the top of Manhattan and the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much for tuning in. This is Aaron Sims for Inwood Artworks On Air.